We all want to write off everything. If you are running a business in Canada, even if it's a small side hustle, knowing what you can legally write off is the most important tax planning tool that you could use. In this video, I'll explain how write-offs really work in Canada, what CRA looks for, and what you can actually claim as a business owner without getting flagged. My name is Hussein, I run an accounting and tax business, and my goal is to help small business owners stay on top of their finances. First of all, what is a tax write-off? The CRA defines a business expense as a cost you incur for the sole purpose of earning business income. That's the foundation for everything. In simple terms, if you spend your money to run or grow your business and it's reasonable, you will be able to write it off. And here's the key part: context matters. Almost anything could be a legitimate write off. It depends on the nature of your business. Here are some examples that might surprise you. A gaming chair is a write off for a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber. Dog food and toys could be a deduction for a professional dog trainer. Scented candles? Yep. If you're running an Airbnb or a spa, it's part of your business expense. Now, the more expenses that you can claim, the lower your taxable income, and that means you pay less taxes. But this is really important. Just calling it a business expense doesn't make it one. It has to be reasonable and directly related to your business. And that's the golden rule. What can you actually claim? Let's go through a list of common business expenses that usually apply to every business. Home office expenses. If you work from home, good news. You can write off a portion of your rent, utilities, and internet. Now, this is usually based on the square footage. For example, if your office takes up 10% of your home, you can write off 10% of the total overall cost of your house. Keep in mind, the area should be dedicated exclusively for business. Vehicle expenses. If you use your car for business, visiting vendors, clients, or for deliveries, you can write off a portion of your total car expenses. This could include gas, insurance, maintenance, and even lease payments. But here's a key part. You need to track your mileage. CRA will not accept approximates. You would need to keep a proper kilometer log. Phone and internet expenses. If you use your phone or internet for business along with your personal, you could write off the business portion. Most of us use these for business and personal, so a certain portion which is relevant to the business would need to be written off. For example, if you use 50% for personal and 50% for business, we would be able to write off 50% of your total expenses. Meals and entertainment. If you take a client out for lunch, or let's say attend a networking dinner, then you can deduct 50% of those costs as business expense. Now, it has to be related to the business, and you need to make sure you keep the receipt. If you want to be even safer, write down who you met and why on the back of the receipt and save that in your storage. What wouldn't be allowed is meals that you eat on your own or with your friends, or maybe even buying groceries from a grocery store. Travel expenses. Travel can be deductible if it is done for business. Let's say you travel to Vancouver for a business event or a conference. You can write off the flight, hotel, meals, and maybe even a rental car that you had to use. But if you brought your spouse or your family and added a vacation, you would only be able to deduct your portion of the total costs and which are directly related to the business. Supplies, tools, and software. Anything you buy to help run your business, like camera, tools, software, these can definitely be written off. Clothing and apparel. I get asked about this one a lot, and here's where it gets a little bit tricky. You can't write off regular clothing, even if you wear it while you are running your business. This could be suits, shirt, tie, etc. The only exception to this is specialized clothing. For example, a uniform for a firefighter, or safety gear for a handyman, or let's say branded apparel with your business logo. Professional fees. You can write off the cost of hiring a bookkeeper, accountant, and legal advice for running your business. Now, here are the common mistakes you want to avoid. There are a few things that many people think are deductible, but they actually are not. Your daily coffee or groceries, these are not business related and they can be deductible. Casual clothes or gym memberships, these are also for personal use. Giving cash to family or friends. CRA doesn't allow it unless you have receipts or invoices showing work done directly for your business. Big purchases not backed by invoices. Remember, if it doesn't tie back directly to earning income in your business, then don't deduct it. Now, how do you prove business expenses? This part matters just as much as what you claim. CRA doesn't just want to know what you spent, they want to know why you spend it and that it was real. So make sure Save your receipts, whether they be digital or in paper. Keep a really good mileage log if you're claiming car expenses. Document business meals with names and dates and the reason for the meal. You could easily use cloud storage or apps in order to keep track of this on a daily basis. If you're ever audited, having these backups will save from interest and penalties and CRA reversing your expenses in order to charge you extra taxes. Now, this is a big misconception that we want to avoid. This is what I hear a lot. Can't I just write off my gym, clothes, or travel as long as I call it a business expense? And the answer would be no. Just as we've covered, it has to be a valid business expense in order to earn business income. The CRA has very clear rules, and while they do allow for a wide range of expenses, they expect us to be honest and consistent. But here's the good news. Done properly, write offs are completely legal and they help minimize the taxes as much as possible. You definitely need to know that you understand the rules, track your spending, and back it up with receipts and logic. So now you know exactly how business expenses and write offs work in Canada. If this video helped you, click like, subscribe, and share it with other small business owners or entrepreneurs. And let me know in the comments, what are some of the unique expenses that you might have deducted? Or is there something that you always wondered if it was a write off or not?